Right, me again. I'm probably going to have a little bit of a rant now, so bear with me. If you look closely there, you will see that that is a bottle of strychnine hydrochloride. Now, before anybody starts panicking and phoning the authorities, it's a clean bottle. It's got nothing in it. Many years ago, I was one of the biggest users of strychnine hydrochloride in the country. I used to poison moles across thousands of acres using this stuff, and the method employed was to get earthworms, cover them in this lovely strychnine powder, then you'd find mole runs and drop the baited worms into the mole runs using a pair of forceps like that. This was an amazing product for killing moles, very efficient, quite cheap to do, and quite commonly used by both farmers and commercial operators. As a commercial operator, I could have 50 grams at a time, which would be 25 2-gram bottles. That's a 2-gram bottle. And farmers could get 8 grams at a time. And you had to apply for a license to buy it, and you had to go to the chemist and sign the poison book and buy it. Strychnine was also one of the products that was misused by people wanting to kill other things other than moles. And obviously, quite controversially, one of the groups of people that misused strychnine and various other chemical products quite frequently were gamekeepers. Now, I was a gamekeeper many years ago, and I worked with people who knew how to do this. I knew how to do it. I knew how to use various chemicals. I'm not going to go into details about what chemicals and how, for obvious reasons, but it was possible to do. And you know, from a keeper's point of view, you could understand that years ago they were under extraordinary pressure to produce the numbers, and rearing birds was quite expensive, and encouraging grouse and grey partridge to breed wild was also quite expensive, so they used it basically as a corner cutter. There's been a lot of controversy this week because there's been a couple of golden eagles found killed, and yesterday there was, I think, a peregrine falcon was found shot. And whilst I accept that the animal rights people will do almost anything to discredit shooting, there's no doubt that there is some illegal persecution still taking place. I am personal friends with, and close friends with, probably half a dozen professional gamekeepers, and if they were doing this, they would be quite open in telling me that they're doing it because they trust me. And I have asked all of them, and none of them currently do it. That does not mean it's not happening. Clearly it is happening. And when you look at the Shooting Times, this is one from 2 weeks ago, and you see articles like that, red kite's poisoned, it just makes you want to tear your hair out and ask the question, why? Why, if you're a professional gamekeeper, you've got the skills to rear birds and to create habitat for wild rearing birds. Why do you need to cheat? Why do you need to cut the corners? What you're actually going to end up doing is bringing an end to organised game shooting in this country. And it's time that we as a shooting community started really sorting this out. And if that means boycotting certain estates, even under suspicion of carrying out these acts, then I think that that's what needs to happen. Shooting Times, Paddy Galbraith, they've done a fantastic job in highlighting this. And equally, there's people around like Andy Richardson, who's done some great work on social media in pointing out that this isn't always happening. And as I've said recently, the fact that there are still people drink driving in this country doesn't mean that we should ban cars. It just means that we need to, as a society, as a community, find out who the drink drivers are and ostracise them. And we need to do the same thing in the shooting community. We need to find out what estates are doing this and ostracise them. We need to find out what alleged professional gamekeepers are doing this and make sure that they sign on the dole, because they have got no business working in the shooting industry if they're not capable of doing their job without cheating. Okay, rant over. Really sorry. I'll talk a bit more about strychnine and mole catching and how I got into it and some of the evolution of mole catching in another film, if that's what people want to hear. But I just thought I'd share that with you and just show you that. I don't suppose there's very many bottles of that left knocking around. As I've already said, this is an empty, clean bottle. Okay, I'm off. Another film coming soon. Bye.